coast, call Seacoast.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL, but you're invited to like and share them on social media such as Facebook, YouTube, and to all your friends. Be sure to share this show with them because CareBag now presents Carology, the Science of Caring, with your host, the one and only Roxy.
Thank you, Cliff. Thank you, Cliff. Good evening, everyone, on this wet Tuesday. Thank you for coming in and tuning in with us again. If this is your first time, welcome. If you are a regular listener, we appreciate you not changing that dial. My name is Roxy, and welcome to Carology. Carology is very simple. It is a science of caring for our community, giving you information on what's going on, who we have in our community, the resources in our community. I'm learning, I educate myself, and I'm trying to also educate others. And we are so happy to have you with us. And like we said, to our new people that are tuning in with us for the first time, welcome, welcome. My name is Roxy. I am the CEO and founder of CareBag Incorporated. CareBag's mission is very simple. We provide access to proper hygiene for our homeless and for our neighbors that are in need for the wellness of our community. Carology is a weekly show every Tuesday, and we thank you for tuning in. And if you want to learn any more about us, you can just go to carebagfl.org. We are a registered 501c3 nonprofit here in our community, and we do great things. We have 2 mobile shower units, we have a mobile hygiene pantry, and we have a brick and mortar store that is now open every Tuesday and Thursday, so our families could go ahead and come into and get the items that they need, which is all hygiene items. So if they need diapers, deodorant, shampoo, toilet paper, and they're just not able to meet those needs because food or a light bill is very pressing, we are there to help them. This is a once a month service, and we are just honored and humbled that we can help our community. So last week I had something biting me and I got it off my chest, and I have something biting me again. And I'm not the big mama bear from last week, but I had a conversation with someone and they got vaccinated, and unfortunately they got vaccinated in the beginning of the pandemic, and lo and behold, they caught COVID again. And they're, one of them is not in the best of health. And the conversation that the individual had with me is, thank God I had my vaccine. There's because if I didn't have it, what would have happened? I would have been hospitalized. Anything could have happened. And while we were talking, I went to them and I said, I'm really sick and tired of people that have no medical experience giving me advice. That is why I have not really talked about the vaccine, because I could give you advice because I do have medical training that I can give you. So I can give it, but I choose not to. I am going to have next week Dr. Lewis with the Community Health Department that is going to be here to answer any questions that you have. She is the CEO and president of the Community Health Department here, Florida Community Health Center here in the Treasure Coast. And there are many locations that you pass on Darwin and Fort Pierce. There's a new one in Lincoln Park. Congratulations to them and Pastor Hazel for opening that one up, because we need it in our community. So we're going to be talking and we're going to be answering questions and giving advice. So this is the conversation I had with someone that I'm encouraging to get the vaccine. You go to your doctor and your doctor says, oh my goodness, you have an ulcer and your ulcer needs to come out. Your mechanic walks in and says, oh, I got some tools, I can take it out. I want to know what living idiot is going to say yes. Nobody is going to say yes. You want a professional to do their job. So to everyone that is making decisions and you do not have any medical experience, I'm going to ask you to shut up. I'm going to ask you, we don't want your opinion. We want medical opinion. We've been getting vaccine for years, and we've been going to our doctor, listening to our doctor, and getting good advice. someone that does not have medical experience, someone that has not gone to medical school, someone that does not know anything about the health department, about your body, about virals, bacteria, should not be giving advice, should not be telling you when you shouldn't have mask on. Because let me tell you something. One thing we don't want to see is children's coffins. You don't want your child, you don't want your grandchild, you don't want your daughter, your grandmother. I'm fighting members of my family also. Don't think it's just you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to members of my family. If you happen to have the radio on and you're listening, thank you. Thank goodness. This is what I'm saying. This helps. The vaccine helps. And I'm so happy we're going to have an expert on next week to answer any question that you have. If you're talking to your doctor and you're not getting the answer you want, maybe you'll get it next week by talking to Dr. Lewis and getting the information that you need. So we will have 35 minutes uninterrupted time that she can go ahead and give us the information. So I have a wonderful guest in the studio. Oh, I am off my pedestal now. I have vented. This is Roxy's show, right, Cliff?
It's Roxy's house.
It's Roxy's house. So I vented. I got it off my chest. I want you to wear masks. I don't want anyone coughing beside me. I'm vaccinated. I refuse to be laying up in a hospital. So if you want to be unvaccinated and you want to catch this and be in the hospital and have no one beside you, be put on a ventilator in ICU by yourself, go right ahead. Stay in your corner. Stay out of my area. I don't want you around me. I'm being serious. Everyone I know around me has been vaccinated because I asked them before, have you been vaccinated? Yes, I can do that. To a sadder story we're going to jump to. I was just scrolling through my phone because I get alerts from all over. And in the state, I think it was Indiana. I don't know what happened. Yeah, in the state of Indiana, a mother and father, 38-year-old man and his 28-year-old wife, took a jump off the bridge into the river. And they had their 2-year-old daughter with them and another child with them, and took everyone's life. This pandemic has rocked us mentally so bad. And my guest in the house tonight is Donna from Habitat for Humanity. Hi, Donna.
Hi.
Hi, it's nice to have you.
Thank you.
But when I read this, I thought it was very sad. People are still struggling with mental illness. And when our first show, I don't remember if Cliff remembered, our first show that we had New Horizons. And we found out you can call 211 and you can ask to speak to someone and you can get counseling. It's free of cost. They will come to your home, taking your life, taking your child's life. There is another way that you can deal with this. If you are struggling and need someone to talk to, sometimes you can't talk to your friends. I know you definitely can't talk to your family because they'll throw it back in your face. Friends will gossip it and have it all over the place. But you can call 211. You can give them the name of Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, if you don't want to give your name, and you can talk to someone. I urge anyone that's struggling with anything, call and talk to someone. You're not alone. You do not have to handle this alone. I hate when I have to look on my phone and I have to see something like this, because a husband and a wife jumping off a bridge with 2 children in a suicide pact was unnecessary. Those are 4 lives gone too soon, and they're precious lives. Every life is precious. Your life is precious if you're listening. So if you're struggling with anything, call 211. We found out it's international. Canada, 211 is international. So you can call and you have someone to talk to free of cost, that you can go ahead and just lay your burdens and talk to someone. And it's confidential. No one is going to look at you weird. They're going to really help you. So when I saw this, I said, I don't know if this is for someone or someone is listening. I don't know. But if you are, dial 211, call them, talk to them. They are here to help you. That is some of the resources we have here in our community. And talking about one of the resources we have in our community, Habitat for Humanity is celebrating. Cliff, we're going to need a hand clap in a minute when I say this. Right now, if everyone could see him, Cliff is like, what? I don't know, but can I believe she told me that? Habitat for Humanity for St. Lucie County is celebrating, drum roll, 25 years. Woo!
Is that fast enough for you now?
That was fast enough. I talk really slow. You're celebrating 25 years. Congratulations, Donna.
Thank you. Thank
And internationally, you're celebrating
45 years.
45 years. So they've been around as long as I have.
Very
Give or take.
very substantial organization. Yes.
Yes. And you guys do a lot. I've always loved Habitat. I was supposed to go with one of my friends when you were building a home and putting on I really want a pink hat. I'm just putting it out there. I heard you have to earn that.
You do. That would be associated with the women build.
Yes, they did. They had
Right.
that, and they were telling me it was a lot of work. Tell me about the 25 years in St. Lucie.
Well, we actually started with Martin County, and that was in 1986. So that would have been 35 years ago.
Okay.
But the organization got big enough to where we could split into the two different counties. And so we split in 1996, and we've been
Okay.
working and strongly ever since then.
That is wonderful. Well, congratulations to you, and congratulations to Habitat and Humanity on a whole for 45 years. That as a nonprofit that is we've reached our 5 years. That is an amazing accomplishment because I know how hard it is as a nonprofit.
It is. And the real significant part of it is that we're in 70 countries. So it's not just the United States. We're working all throughout the whole entire world, which is amazing and very, very cool. So we can reach out to different countries and find out how they're dealing with the pandemic and how they're dealing with their housing crisis, like we are, but how do they deal with it? We just have a network that we can pull from.
I love it.
It's great.
There's only one CareBag, so we can only reach for one,
but we're here for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But that's good to know, to have a nonprofit that has a legacy of 45 years and 25 years, that shows the commitment that you have for the community. So tell me, how does someone in need now get to Habitat, that they can say, how does Habitat help that family? Walk us through the process.
Sure. So we don't have any trouble whatsoever finding applicants for our program. They come to me. I probably field 20 to 40 calls a week.
Wow.
From different people that are looking either for repairs or for home ownership. The most of the nut of our program is for home ownership, but we have started doing repairs as well.
Okay.
So I get those calls, and because we don't have homes available all year round, we don't keep our application process open all year round because we lend money.
Okay.
The homes are not free. We create mortgages for them, and we're the bank basically for those mortgages. So we have to follow all of the federal guidelines, just like every other financial institution. So we don't keep it open unless we're ready to put people into the process of getting their home.
Oh, okay. So it's not hard to find an applicant. If someone wanted to go ahead, what are the qualifications that they need to get with Habitat for Humanity?
Well, there are several. There's an income
ratio
qualification that they have to meet. Most people don't understand when I say 80% of the area median income is our maximum. So the best thing to do is to go to our website, which is stluciehabitat.org. It's the same as our name.
Okay.
And then go to the buy a home page, and there's a section called How Do I Qualify?
Okay. And so that is stluciehabitat.org. I'll say that again, stluciehabitat.org, and it is buy a home. And how to qualify.
Exactly.
And if you go there and you follow those steps, you can go ahead and find out if you meet the requirements. So meeting requirements are very important. We have that same process, and a lot of people don't understand, well, can I just get? No, because we have to, as a nonprofit, we're accountable to a board. We're accountable to individuals that give us money. So maybe I'm catching you off guard. You might not know. You might surprise me. How many homes has Habitat? Do you know how many homes Habitat has done here in St. Lucie County?
82.
82. That
82
is good.
in 25 years. That's not so bad.
That's not bad.
And we're scheduled in this fiscal year to do 9,
to do 9
10
more. That is amazing.
Yeah, which is our biggest year.
As a nonprofit, we work with each other. I am going to come out because I want a pink hat. What do you think, Cliff? I think I'd look good in a pink hat.
Of course you would.
I think Cliff would too.
If you had a matching purse.
Purses are too much. I'm
And
not gonna. I
matching
want a
shoes.
pink. No, a pink. was it the pink hat and the pink
and the
belt
tool belt.
and the tool belt?
Yeah.
The pink tool belt.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I think that would work.
Okay.
Because if you're gonna do
Mhm.
something, might as well look cute at doing it.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's right. Especially hard work.
hard work. Yes. So we have our lines open. We see a lot of people on our lines, and we appreciate all of you. If anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask or they were interested in asking, you're always free to go ahead. 772-340-1590 that you can call in if you have a question, or Habitat has done something for you and you'd like to say thank you. We're always ready to do that. So tell us more, because I love to learn more about Habitat.
Sure. So there are other requirements other than the financial aspect. We have, they have to be residents of St. Lucie County or work in St. Lucie County for a year before they
can qualify.
A U.S. citizen or permanent resident.
Okay. U.S. citizen or permanent resident.
Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because they're responsible for a mortgage.
Yes.
Otherwise, we wouldn't care.
Right.
But we need to make sure that somebody can pay that mortgage.
Back. So it's not just going to someone else or by the wayside.
Right. Exactly. And there's some other qualifications that you can find online too. One of the biggest ones is that they do sweat equity, which is a volunteer program of 300 hours while they're in the program. So
that's fair enough. Put some skin. We call it putting some skin in the game.
Skin in the game. And
it
doesn't have to be with us. It can be with other organizations as well. So we require them to do a lot at the job site. We try and get them to do 150 hours because that's the most rewarding part of it. Going out there and actually building your home, sitting in your home once you have that home and saying, I built that wall. I painted this. I did this. Yeah.
I love that because I've been doing some work over the weekend. And even when I walk in the backyard and I was like, wow, that backache I have from lifting all those rocks, it's worth it when you look at it, because you see the meat and potatoes of your work.
Absolutely.
And you get satisfaction out of it.
That's right.
I think that's the best thing.
That's exactly right.
So can anyone come and volunteer?
Absolutely. Yes.
Because volunteers are a big thing for nonprofits.
Volunteers, and especially with us. And we have a great volunteer force, and people love to come out because they see what they've done. You know, it's the same thing as a homeowner. They're out there and especially if they come to the dedication, they can actually say, I did that wall.
Put the paint on the spackle.
Yeah.
Put the mailbox
I did the sod, which was awful and horrible and great at the same time.
There was a show that I watched with Frasier.
Yes.
And I don't know if you ever saw that show. He volunteered for Habitat. And after the people moved in, Cliff, he kept going back to the house to try and put the couch a certain way, to put curtains up. And their motif was the cow, black and white cow skin. And it drove him crazy because he was posh and his etiquette was really high. So, but he said he spackled the wall. He painted the wall. He felt he put so much into it that he
had ownership.
He had ownership of the home. So we hope that volunteers won't do that, but it's a nice thing to have.
It is. And they can actually go to our website as well. There's a volunteer page and the application is right on there. And Amanda, our volunteer coordinator, will reach out to them. And she actually is very good about finding where's the best place to put them, because the construction field is not the only place that people can volunteer. So they can go to the restores, they can work in our office. There's just all kinds of opportunities.
I've gotten some good paint from your office, from your restore.
Yes.
I'm actually going to be heading there again, Cliff, this weekend because I need some more paint. So sometimes you can get some really good things.
There used to be people would have excess paint and they'd donate like 5-gallon buckets. You still get those?
If it's opened, we don't. If it's
these
not
were new.
opened, yes.
These were new tins of paint I got.
Yeah, these are new, and it's a really good quality paint that we have.
It's a green label around it. Yeah,
see, actually green sheen is what it's called.
Yes, it has a green label around it. It's white. That's what I'm going to use for my garage.
Sometimes if you need an extra sink.
Yeah,
or appliance.
They have all of that.
That's right.
I've been in there.
I have a $25 couch that I absolutely love, and it's in great condition. And I bought it at the restore. Yeah,
because there's some people. I think it's even at stores. Sometimes if stores close or anything, you just get so many things, and that money now goes to.
They go to build our houses. In fact,
build our homes.
The profits from even last year, we actually did pretty well, even though we closed for 2 months. We did pretty well, and they were able to help us with 2 homes from the restore profits.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
who is the CEO of Habitat for St. Lucie County?
Bob Calhoun.
Bob Calhoun.
Yes.
Okay, we want to give a shout out to Bob
Yes,
Calhoun,
absolutely.
the CEO, and just tell him thank you for agreeing to be on.
28 years of experience.
Wow.
He's the man we go to when we need anything answered.
Can I write his name and call him when I need a question?
Absolutely. I'm sure he'd be happy to help you.
Oh my goodness. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Donna, is there anything that we forgot about Habitat for Humanity that we need to touch on?
Oh, I'm sure there's tons.
There's
but
tons.
That's okay. Just the fact that we're able to help as many families as possible. We want to continue growing. So if anybody wants to throw their support towards us, we're always happy to receive that support as well. The county and the cities have been really working with us. And this year, that's one of the reasons why we get to up our game and do more houses this year.
Well, I love that. We're going to have Habitat for Humanity's information on our Facebook page. But Donna, we want to say thank you for coming out.
Yes.
It is such a big support that we do in this community. And we want to let everyone know we appreciate your time, especially in the rain. Anyone that came out today is special because I didn't want to come. I wanted to call and say, can we do a recorded session? But I said, no, I had to come because it's important. There are too many things going on, and everyone there. It's a longer drive home tonight, people. After you listen to the news and the weather of Channel 5, it's a longer drive home because crazy people are out there in the traffic. So you're spending a longer time with us, which I love. So that's why I had to come. Donna, we appreciate you coming out. And if anyone wants to get any more information on Habitat for Humanity, it is stluciehabitat.org. And we're going to have this information on our Facebook page and a beautiful picture of me and Donna that you can go ahead and see. But we have in our studio coming up our special election that is coming up very soon. And we're going to be talking to candidates to find out, what are you going to do for my county? I'm still upset with my trash because guess what, Cliff? They still didn't pick up my trash today. And we went up $2 and something. So I'm really upset again. But we will be back after these messages from our sponsors. Stay tuned and don't go anywhere. We will be right back with Carology and thanking our guest, Donna. And we'll see you in 60 seconds. If you could reimagine the way you buy a car, what would you do? Make it simple, make negotiations disappear, demand transparency, then experience amazing at your Treasure Coast Lexus dealer. Car buying simplified. Treasure Coast Lexus is a proud sponsor of Carology. Every Tuesday at 6:05 p.m., caring and supporting for our community. Car buying simplified. Check out your Treasure Coast Lexus dealer. Why call two men in a truck of the Treasure Coast? You want to move your business without moving a single meeting? You want it handled with no fuss. Lots of stuff, no time to move it. You need the pros that care. That's why you call two men in a truck of the Treasure Coast. Family owned and operated franchise. Call 772-236-0827. 772-236-0827. Movers who care. Visit Two Men in a Truck, treasurecoast.com.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
We now return to Carology, the science and art of caring. And once again, here's your host, the one and only Roxy.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. How are you doing? This is Roxy, and welcome back to Carology. I just got the funniest thing. So you guys are going to really love this. I have in the studio with me Tavares Williams. Talking to the mic so we can hear you. You're going to have to share a mic.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Hello,
Roxy. Mr. Williams.
Hello, hello.
Okay. And I also have with me Travis Walker.
Hello.
Now, could anyone tell me what mistake did I make today? I'll let any one of you go.
Did you call us both Travis? Is that what happened?
I called them both Travis. But you know what? Yeah. This is all good because while I was sitting here, I was looking out the right side of my eye and I can see the two gentlemen sitting there walking. Somebody's phone is vibrating. I can hear it. So I'm sitting there at the corner of my eye and I see the two gentlemen laughing and talking. And you know what? That's what politics is supposed to be about. Politics is supposed to be about that you can see the person you're running against and you can sit down and you can laugh and you can talk. Absolutely. That's it. So thank you, gentlemen. So because I have two of you here tonight, this is going to be good. Okay, so sometimes God just makes things happen. You know that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
All the time.
All the time. Okay, hold on. So I can hear both of you. You can put this in so you can hear yourself. I can hear both of you. So I'm going to ask each of you now, because both of you can hear me. I'm going to ask each of you, for our listeners that joined us, we'll start with you, Mr. Williams. If you can go ahead and let us know your full name and the office that you're running for.
Well, hello again, Roxy. My name is Tavares Williams, and I am running for District 3 City Council here in Port St. Lucie. Okay,
well, thank you very much. And we're going to wait for Mr. Walker to get... You got it. Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Always on the fly. Travis Walker, running for City Council, Port St. Lucie, District 3.
Okay. And we already found out from Mr. Anthony Bono, who was on last week, that we don't even need to know if you're affiliated with the party because it doesn't matter. So we don't need to ask, which I love. So I'm going to give you my questions first. Okay. We're a nice talk show here. The housing crisis that is happening right now seems to be one of the biggest issues right now, because every time I go around Port St. Lucie, beautiful houses are being built up. Beautiful houses are being built up. The average person cannot afford that home. But we're not even going to touch on that. I want to touch on the traffic, the congestion that we are having. Mr. Williams, I'm going to go from my right to left first. What is the main thing that you see about the traffic situation that we're having here in our county? To the mic.
The traffic situation that we have is, again, a microcosm of our issue here in Port St. Lucie. We are beholden to our small town charm, but we now have the realization that we are a large city. And so with that comes needs. You have infrastructure you have to maintain, but also the vision to understand that your growth isn't going to remain stagnant. It's going to continue growing. So how do we position ourselves to care for the residents we have today, to ease that congestion, as well as make sure it doesn't occur again in the future?
Okay. Mr. Walker, same to you.
Sure. And obviously, I'm Travis Walker. As a real estate attorney, I'm very familiar with the land use and zoning issues and concurrency that occurs within the city. I know we rely a lot upon traffic engineers with regards to their road counts and everything. A lot of times what we're seeing is the level of service goes down at peak hours. And when I was originally with the city on the Planning and Zoning Board, I was working with Walter England, who was the city engineer, and there were certain levels of fluorescent that were at levels F of service during the peak hours. And so, there's a difference between the level of service during overall and then the level of service during peak hours. And so, planning for long-term concurrency and long-term transportation is essentially working hand in hand with the city engineer who's employed by the city manager, making sure we have a good city engineering department is essential. And then making sure we're handling the growth, which, we talk about the Western Southern Groves, the Wilson Groves, everything that's occurring out there, and then making sure the connectivity occurs well, along with, to all the way to the city center, and making sure that now that the city has taken possession via the SEC of city center, making sure that we're connecting the city well. I applaud the city councils of the past for their foresight into putting Crosstown Parkway into place. And that way we have ability of long east-west corridors here in the city. And so that forethought and planning is essential to make sure that we have, the right traffic counts going forward.
Okay. I keep forgetting I don't have a mic in front of me. If you guys could, for those of you who couldn't see me, this is so much fun. Okay. So, and thank you guys. One of my biggest issues is taxes. So as you heard before, the Waste Pro is my biggest pet peeve. I sat down and I watched the city council meeting that they had on video. I saw you sitting in the right. I didn't see you, but I saw you sitting in the right corner there all day. I think that was the longest meeting they've ever had. It was. And I'm noticing now that we're going to be paying more for our garbage to be picked up. So just to let you know, Travis and Tavares, my garbage wasn't picked up today.
Oh.
So I'm paying more now and it's still not being picked up. Just your personal thought. What do you think? I'm going to start, like I said, from Mr. Williams. What do you think the city can really do to combat this issue? Just a personal thought. Because for me, it's my peeve.
Well, again, when you place your trash and your recycling out in the morning or the evening before, you do expect it to be picked up. It is not a pleasant feeling when you go outside or you get the text message that Waste Pro is not able to pick up your trash.
I don't get a text message, an email, nothing.
And so what I want to do is a point of clarity. So absolutely, that is a terrible feeling. That's happened to me many times. The increase in the Waste Pro bill that you're receiving is because of the contract that's in place, and there were built-in escalators. So this was just a time frame for that increase to happen. It happened at the worst possible time because no one is happy with our trash pickup as it stands right now. Well, what you're seeing with Waste Pro right now is what a lot of other cities are also dealing with, and it is their workforce issues. And what we need to do is we need to be cognizant that we can have an emergency like this occur at any time, which is why 40% of our workforce having to work in Palm Beach County is a huge negative for our city. We need to make sure that we are using the available workforce we have, and we do have a large workforce here. We need to bring in enterprises here to make sure that we can live and work in Port St. Lucie to avoid the next Waste Pro situation happening. So as it relates to Waste Pro, we're going to have to take a look at our current contract. We're going to have to continue to be competitive in terms of our bid. We want to make sure that if there are other options, other possible vendors, that we're taking a look into that. I know we definitely have an internship with IRSC and SAGES for CDL drivers. So there are some ways that we can take a look to see how the situation can be addressed, but we definitely need to come up with a solution.
Mr. Walker?
Absolutely, and that's a pressing issue that I've heard a lot on the campaign trail. I've been canvassing, going door to door, talking to residents. Some haven't had issues with Waste Pro, but many have had issues like yourself with Waste Pro, and it's definitely a huge issue. As a city council member, we really only hire and retain for employment the city manager and the city attorney. And so the city attorney is obviously to be held responsible for the franchise agreement, which is the agreement that Waste Pro has with the city. And if the franchise agreement isn't in fact as solid as it should be, the city legal department should be held accountable. And as a sitting city council member attorney, one of the things that I would do is make sure that either the franchise agreement was strong as it should be, as well as making sure that the city legal department is reviewing the contracts and enforcing the contracts as well as they should be. The real issue with Waste Pro, it has been, and I applaud the current city council for the work that they've done, because they've actually fined Waste Pro over $1 million so far because of the violations that that's been going on. So they've been using the enforcement arm of that franchise agreement as much as they possibly can. However, it doesn't get away from that issue with regards to, and what I think is a systemic issue, is an employment issue with Waste Pro, and something that, while it doesn't give them an excuse, causes some understanding as to where we're at with regards to why the trash isn't getting picked up in certain areas. As an employer of 15 people, I know that the employment market right now is a little bit challenging, and so finding good CDL drivers when they could work for FedEx or they could work for over trucking roads or something like that is definitely a challenge that Waste Pro I think is having with regards to finding competent people. I mean, if I had the choice between maybe working for FedEx and working for picking up trash and having to jump off the truck and do so, then I may work for FedEx. That being said, that doesn't excuse Waste Pro for the violations of their franchise agreement. And when that franchise agreement comes across the desk and is being renegotiated, we need to take a fine-tooth comb to it, make sure that there's no loopholes for Waste Pro to find out of. So again, Waste Pro so far has been fined $1 million or over $1 million for the violations thus far. I did sit in on that city council meeting where they were the chief operations officer came to the city council and addressed some of those issues, and we are seeing an escalation because of that franchise agreement escalation clauses. And it's my understanding that the community development department is also working hand in hand to enforce that agreement, but is also working on ordinances to work on that. The final issue, and I know brevity is the soul of wit, so I don't want to go on too far, is that a lot of the landlords are pushing out trash to the curb and evicting clients with huge levels of trash along the curb, and the only machines that can really handle that are the landscaping and trash machines. And so the usual garbage trucks aren't able to handle that. So I know I give a lot of credit to city staff for trying to work and create an ordinance where they try to do a yard measurement type of thing, but who knows what that really comes down to. But, we really need to do an education department and not have this expectation that, Waste Pro will be able to just sit there and pick up, yards and yards worth of trash all at one time.
Just to let you know, that's what happens when we give a lawyer a mic, everybody. I'm just gonna let you know. But this is Carology. And the one thing about it is now I wanted to give you questions that came from my audience, that came from different people. You're gonna get questions from me now, but I'm gonna start from Mr. Walker, then work my way to Mr. Williams. Okay. As you know, I went ahead and I sent out information about CareBag. CareBag basically is coming on 5 years old, and we deal with the homeless crisis, and we deal with families that are in need. Since the pandemic, we have had an influx of elderly veterans that can't even afford Depends. We have had moms that can't afford diapers. Do you have children?
I do have a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old.
A 2-year-old.
So 12, 6.
Oh, 12 and 6. So they're not in diapers anymore.
No, ma'am.
And you have two.
I have 2 boys, 11 and 9.
And they're not in diapers anymore. But you remember, gentlemen, how expensive diapers can be.
Yes.
So we give any family that comes in between 25 to 30, that we don't just give them, we give them a little bridge to help them get over. We give 25 to 30 diapers a month to the families. And we give 10 Depends to our veterans elderly that are coming in. We do not have a shelter. I am not going to go on and on, Cliff, about this. We don't have a shelter in St. Lucie County. We don't have one. No one wants it in their backyard. The only time a shelter is open is when there is cold weather. Now we are in South Florida. I've lived abroad in Europe. I am from New York, so I know cold. Florida does not get that cold, people. When you start walking and skidding on ice on your feet and on your tires, then you can come and talk to me about cold. When you see water turn into ice, when it drops, that is cold. Florida does not get cold. Florida cold, but not cold. The only time we open up an emergency shelter for the homeless we do not have is when it gets Florida cold. And this is coming from me, this is a personal thought. I know one day it's going to get on the city council's agenda from my lips to God's ear. But for right now, what do you think that we can do as a community for our homeless? Because we need people to work. We run a business. Many businesses are out there. We can't get anyone to work. My personal opinion is so many checks are going out. People are feeling comfortable. When that stops, people will start to get back to work. Again, this is my show. I can say this, okay? So what do you think we can do as a community that we can go ahead and start looking into getting a shelter? We have Graceway Village, love that organization, that is getting ready to do a transitional home for families. But I have gone out into the woods. I have gone out from Sebastian to Hub Sound, and I have gone into the woods where there are tarps, there are tents, they're living on sand. We've seen a dead body that came out the hospital because they took him out the hospital. And I was actually with people from my church. He came out the hospital and he died right there.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't even find out if he had some place to go. So we're building all these beautiful homes. We're building all these beautiful roads. I love Crosstown, the biggest congestion I've seen in my life. For 9 years, I've lived in St. Lucie County. And yet we don't have a place that people can afford to live. We're about to see people get evicted. People are about to get evicted. Since last week, our phone at CareBag has been ringing off the hook because we are in diaper mode. So excuse me, gentlemen, we're going to put a plea out. If anyone wants to donate, I need size 4, 5, and 6. And my biggest need is Depends. I usually get unisex, small, and medium. We have a lot of little old ladies and smaller men, especially veterans going through prostate cancer. They need these incontinence diapers, that they can function and go outside. They want to have dignity. Men don't want to go out with their in front of their pants wet because they just couldn't afford it. These things are vitally expensive. And if we as a community and an organization could provide these to individuals, neighbors in our community, that brings dignity, and that brings you just humanity to them. And that's what we want to do. I'm coming back on course, gentlemen. So, but I had to, when it sits on me, I had to put them out because I don't have any small Depends anymore. Yeah. We are out. They go off my shelf. And these are citizens. I've talked to some that are teachers. You know, Mr. Williams, Mr. Walker, I've talked to teachers. I've talked to veterans that have given their life and fought in wars, cannot afford to buy these items because they're so expensive. To me, that's ridiculous. And we want to still, thank goodness for Children's Services Council. They work with us, they support us, and we are so happy for them. But Children's Services Council handles children 18 and under. So we have to find other resources to get our Depends. So this is a conduit. I can get that information out. So what would you say, not to make me feel good, I don't want you to say something to make me feel good, because then I get angry. What would you say that what we can do to help this situation we have here with our homeless? Because we have a transitional place in Vero. We have the Image of Christ as an emergency when it gets cold, or they will open up one of the gyms in Fort Pierce. I can't remember the name right now. They opened the gym in Fort Pierce, the Percy Gym in Fort Pierce, and that's it. We have Safe Space, which is for domestic violence. We have, Salvation Army mothers and children. But for someone to go to get out of the elements, that's a shelter, to get out of the elements, the cold, the rain, the sun, air-conditioned unit, we don't have that. So what would you say when I come to you, if either of you get that position, and I say, listen, we're on first basis now because we sat beside each other and we've talked with each other. You know what, Travis, you know what, Tavares, congratulations. We need a homeless shelter. We need something. What are you going to tell me? You go first.
I will applaud you real quick before you get mad about the hard work that you're doing, and thank you for all that you do on behalf of the community. Mm-hmm. I have toured the Graceway Village facility. Mm-hmm. Michelle Franklin is a friend of mine. She's on the board there, and they're doing a great job there, and they're giving away clothes. They're doing all kinds of amazing things, and so I think that can be used as an example. Obviously, that's off of Okeechobee Road area, up in
Hartman Road,
Hartman Road in Fort Pierce. But that that doesn't really. I mean, it's supposed to serve the Port St. Lucie area as well. But I really think that as a city council member, one of the things that I'd like to do is to reach out to the faith-based community, because I think that they have a lot of great resources. I think they have a lot of great ideas, including Graceway Village, in order to facilitate, a homeless program. Because let's be real, is that, there is a homeless population, whether they're living in cars, whether they're living in tents. We're the third or the seventh largest city in this for population, and a good number of those people are living in poverty, and they're living homeless.
And they flock to the Treasure Coast. And everyone says, why do they flock to the Treasure Coast? The word treasure. Just want to let you know, the word treasure will make me come here too. I came to Port St. Lucie because it was pit bull friendly, and I'm a pit bull mom. So, but when I talk to them, it's here. What people throw out in their garbage is food for these individuals. When they can't get somewhere, they can go to the beach and they can take a shower. So, what if I bought a piece of land right now, 2 sentences, or 3, if I bought a piece of land and I said, listen, I want to build a homeless shelter, what would you tell me?
I would say let's work on it. I'm a board member of the Hibiscus Children's Center, and we tried to have a house in Port St. Lucie that would be a transition center for the shelter that we run in the Jensen Beach area. And so let's work on it. Let's find a way to make it work. The housing situation we didn't work very well for a transition area. It has to be zoned properly. It has to be forethought. But you're absolutely right. I was on the Boys and Girls Club board, and we talked about a $30 monthly fee and just bumping that up by $5 or $10. Then all of a sudden people couldn't afford even that $5 or $10, increase. And so, we have to be aware of that and just be grateful for the blessings that we have, and making sure we're taking care of those that are least fortunate.
Okay. Mr. Williams.
So Roxy, you asked to me to give you a keep it real answer.
Keep it real. I like to keep it real.
You've seen me in church. You know, I volunteer at Graceway Village. You know, I volunteer at the food bank. You know, my entire career has been in child welfare. I understand the need. I understand that you have policies that you make that don't necessarily reach the entire population. And it is with those service organizations such as CareBag that make sure there are no fringe populations left behind. So if we're having a keep it real moment, what I would say to you, knowing who I am, I would say, what have we tried? What can we do? Is the shelter itself the impediment? Is there anything else we can look at in terms of not being called a shelter? What about a house? Have we looked at the zoning into a house that we can, like you said, you need an opportunity or a structure to have people escape the elements? Does it have to be a shelter to do that?
Sometimes, Cliff, I ask questions just so I can piggyback off, because I have a board meeting tomorrow. So I could piggyback. I could say, well, guess what Mr. Williams and guess what Mr. Walker said. So I'm just going to put it out there. But thank you, gentlemen. I have one last question before maybe my last question. I personally, I'm concerned about the Delta strain. Our death rate is increasing every day. I do not think we want to see funeral homes having to order coffins for children, because funeral homes don't keep coffins for children. Most people don't know that. We keep it real on this show. Okay, our hospitals are about to go from level orange to a level red. So that means that if your loved one gets put into the hospital, you might not be able to go and you might not be able to see them. This was from the last week. So in your both of your parents with children in school, which is perfect. The American Academy of Pediatrics, which is over 67,000 pediatrics, say that children going back to school, masks should be implemented for their safety with the increase with the Delta variant. And I'm going to quote, recommending that all children over the age of 2 wear masks when returning to school this year, regardless of vaccination status. What are your thoughts? Now, let me just let you know my thoughts. When I have to go out, I work from home or I can go to the office. Mostly our business, I work from home. So I don't have to have on a mask. But when I have to walk down 3-4 aisles in Publix and I have to put on a mask, I am overheated. I hyperventilate. I don't particularly like it. Because I am immune impressed, I have to have on a mask. I am vaccinated. So I can't imagine children wearing masks 8 hours a day. I can't, but for the safety of children. And I think I want to do this from a parent's perspective, because the one thing I don't want is to see sick children.
Right.
I don't want to see sick children. And I don't want parents to have to bury children. That is not a good feeling, personally. That is not a good feeling. So starting with you, Mr. Walker. Now, you're not in the courtroom now. Okay. I'm glad I have you in case I need an attorney from Cliff, from Carol. I might need an attorney after today. With your children going back to school, how do you feel?
Well, I think this really goes down onto a home rule type of question.
Yeah.
And so as the city council, as a city council person, I'm a strong believer in home rule. I believe that the city of Port St. Lucie should set its own ordinances. And I believe the state of Florida should, stay out of its implementing of ordinances that infringe on the rights.
Can I get a clap? Cliff, I'm going to need a clap. Keep talking. I'm going to need a clap.
Infringes on the rights of the city of Port St. Lucie to develop its own ordinances, and whether that's masks and COVID or whether that's environment and trees and zoning laws and everything else like that. So certainly I think that's the that's the issue, and definitely I believe that as a city council member we should be setting our own ordinances and rules regardless of what government is telling us.
Okay, so I'm not going to put I'm coming to you, Mr. Williams. I'm not going to put either of these men on the spot. I think DeSantis needs to shut up. Now, just to let you know, this is my show. I'm the CEO of CareBag, okay? And I know the certificates on my wall are more than he has. My parents sent me to school. You need to stay out of medical intervention when you do not have a medical background. That is what I'm saying. This is not a politics. This is life and death, Cliff. These are our children. Because I'm sure Mr. DeSantis' children are going to private school where there may be 10 to 12 children in a class. Other parents do not have that luxury of having children. Because I went to private school all my life. So I know there were not a lot of us in class. I've been to private school. Thank God for my parents. I've been to private school all my life. I don't know what a public school looks like. My parents' education was top. If my mom's listening right now, she's saying, yes, that's what I did. The best education my parents gave me. But a lot of people cannot send their children, or they may have a lot of children, they just can't afford it. And there are 30, 40, 45 kids to a class. How do you expect math to stay on all day? Some teachers have 40 kids to a class.
Got to give one hand for being there.
Yes. But look what just happened in Georgia. I'm coming to you, Mr. Rose. I haven't forgot about you. But look what happened in Georgia. They went to school and already kids are out and students are out. You know, so you have 2 children that are going back to school. As a parent, how do you feel with your child going back to school?
So as a parent, the truth of the matter is you feel like you're failing all the time. Whether you are or not, that is your perception. You do your best. You love your children as best as you can. You try to provide them with everything you feel they need to succeed. You try to give them the things that you didn't have, and you try to glean the things from your parents that you felt, you know, I couldn't admit it at the time, but it actually helped me get to where I needed to be today. And so COVID for parents is another one of those situations where parents feel hopeless. As a parent of 2 children, I hate the fact that my children have to wear masks 8 hours a day. That can't be healthy long term. And there are going to be studies that come out to substantiate that, I truly believe. But at the same time, though, we have to remain safe. There are going to be continuous variations with the COVID strand, and it's going to continually get stronger. And so do you not send your child to school and be prepared for something that could happen? No, you have to do the best thing you can do is to prepare your child as best as you can. And for us right now, that is wearing masks. I too believe in homeroom. You have to do what you can to keep your citizenry safe and responsible way. I am very proud of Port St. Lucie's relationship with St. Lucie County and our Department of Health, because they've done a tremendous job in getting true information out to the masses. They've done a tremendous job in mobilizing our hubs for vaccine sites, and vaccines are available. So if anyone is willing, there are vaccine events and vaccines available here in this city.
Well,
and I think we do a great job of organizing.
So thank you very much, Mr. Williams. Gentlemen, even though I booked both of you on, it's been great. And I'm wishing both of you luck. We don't talk politics, but I wanted you on so our listeners, which we have a lot of, can hear what our candidates are doing for us. So thank you both, Mr. Williams and Mr. Walker. Thank you both for coming on.
Thanks
I greatly appreciate it. But what I want to do, we are just about finished, but I wanted to remind everyone that we are not pulling our winner for our drawing for December 17, 2 p.m. for our 2021 Lexus UX 200, and the taxes are paid. Someone came to me and said, Roxy, I don't want to get my tickets for the TV coming up in September because that might be the ticket for the car. Just to let you know, we pick a name. We don't pick the ticket. So if we pick your name, your tickets are still in the drawing for the car. If you want to see this beautiful car, only thing you have to do is go to Lexus right here in Fort Pierce, and you can see that beautiful car. Our time, what, Cliff?
GiveCareBag.org.
GiveCareBag.org. Cliff, you are beautiful.
Because it's all there.
Yeah, it's all there. All the information, everything is there. This is done by an independent company. Cliff gave me the 2-finger salute. So that lets me know that we have 2 minutes. I want to say, everyone, thank you, thank you, thank you. We have someone saying protecting our teachers is important. Thank you very much, Jera. You are actually correct. Everyone watching and listening on our Facebook and on TuneIn and Alexa, we thank you. My name is Roxy, and this is Carology, the science of caring, protecting, and for the wellness of our community. And we just want to thank our 2 candidates, Mr. Williams and Mr. Walker, for sharing the spotlight and just coming on and giving us your personal thoughts about questions that many of our people had, which are still giving me questions. So that's why I'm just looking. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming out. We appreciate it, for taking the time. And my name is Roxy. We will be back next week Tuesday at 6:05 here on WPSL 1590. And we thank you for listening to us. If you're on the road, be safe with all this rain. Again, Cliff, thank you very much.
That's what we do. CareBag.
They can't hear you. They can hear you?
Oh, they can hear me. Yes.
Oh, that's right. I don't have my
You don't have your headphones on.
I can't hear anything.
No.
But thank you, everyone. Thanks, Cliff. Yes.
No problem there. Carology is the science and art of caring. And by golly, I think it's a very novel concept. What do you think? Be sure to visit CareBag.org. Get signed up for the drawing. And follow this show on Facebook, YouTube. This is WPSL.